Welcome to Bee Gees and Me. I'm David Fedor. All this week across our social media at Bee Gees and Me, we've been celebrating Lonely Hearts Club Week, focusing on the Bee Gees, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band movie from 1978. And it's all been leading up to this, our main event, a conversation with Miss Diane Steinberg Lewis, the actress who played Lucy with Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds from that movie. So my pleasure to present to you our conversation. I need to start by saying I'm ridiculously excited to be speaking with you. Thank you for being on Bee Gees and Me.
Thank you for having me, David. Thank you very much. I don't think I have to tell them how technically ignorant I am. So that's good.
Are you talking about the computer setup that we had trouble with? We'll edit all that out. Nobody needs to know. All they know is you clicked on it and it worked.
Okay.
So we're
Do
good.
you want to start again?
No. I want to leave this in because, like I talked with you before, I don't want to have a formal interview where we prepare questions and have things set up. I just want to have a conversation. I want to talk with you about your experience with Sgt. Pepper's. Talk with you with your experience about.
What do you want to know, darling?
I will accept any story that you are comfortable in telling.
Okay. Where's my husband? Okay. The craziest thing, well, it wasn't the craziest, but I'll tell you the one crazy thing. We were there for getting our makeup on, getting ready for our scene. And this had to be the first or second week that we were there, you know. And we hear down on the lot, we hear this crowd and people are cheering and we're hearing rock and roll, but it's like 50s stuff, like, you know, and I'm thinking, that sounds like one of Buddy Holly's songs, you know. So they said, yeah, you know, they're doing shooting a movie down there. And so music stops and then in comes this guy looking in the mirror and doing his hair and had glasses on and everything. And he was just full of energy. And I guess some of the, I hope he doesn't kill me if he hears this or sees it, but some of the hair people were going, oh my God, yes, here comes that's crazy Gary Busey. Okay, so he was wild. He was doing the Buddy Holly story.
Yeah.
And just the way he came in there and posing and everything, and you know, who is that guy? You know.
So he basically crashed your set.
He crashed the set, man, and then he went back and did his. And I had never heard of him before. And was that his first movie? Do you know?
It was definitely one of his earliest, as far as I know.
One of his earliest. Yeah, and okay, you better ask me some questions because my mind is starting to.
For our listeners and our viewers who haven't heard, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band is a movie that came out in 1978, starring Peter Frampton, the Bee Gees, and our guest today, Diane Steinberg Lewis, as Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And it was a movie musical set to the music of the Beatles. So it was off the Sgt. Pepper's album, but also other albums as well. And it told the story of this fictional band, the Sgt. Pepper's Band, and these magical instruments from the town of Heartland. And the magical instruments kind of got stolen and spread across the world. And just like the Avengers had to get the Infinity Stones together, Sgt. Pepper's had to get these instruments together. And Diane, you played Lucy, who was one of the bad guys in the movie. She was on the bad guy's side, I guess you could say, and try to keep these magical instruments out of the hands of our heroes.
Oh yeah, you know, you didn't know Lucy was supposed to be one of Big Deal's or BD's recording artists, right?
Yeah. So
his girlfriend apparently, or his girl Friday, or go do whatever you got to do to get the guys to sign the contract. You know,
you were the bait that was thrown out there for Peter Frampton.
I was the bait, and oh well, geez.
Well, I shouldn't mention that you were successful in your quest to lure them to the dark side, because the BD Brockhurst, I think was his name, and he was the big record agent who
Yes.
signed the band, who distracted them so they could steal. There was like 8 different bad guys in this movie.
Yeah, and that was played by Donald Pleasance, who was a bad guy in several movies. One being a James Bond movie, with where he has the cat, the white cat. Which
Yeah,
one is it? Is
uh,
that?
was that Doctor No?
I think so,
Maybe.
because I,
I'm
I'm
a Bee
not
Gees
sure.
expert. Look at my walls behind me. I have Bee Gees posters up. I don't have James Bond posters up. Well, tell me a little bit about. Let's go back to the movie. How you were a recording artist before you got hired to be Lucy. You had 2 albums out. You had 1974. You had a self-titled album, Diane Steinberg, and then
Yeah.
in 1977, another album,
Excuse
Universal
me.
Child. Um,
Yes, that was with ABC Records. And I was just about to, well, we finished the album and I was over at ABC Records and talking about what are we going to do. Gino Vanelli wanted me to open up for him, and then George Benson wanted me to open up for him. And I'm a keyboard player, so one of my friends is Melissa Manchester, and so all the girl singer piano players, that's where I was trying to go. So I was going to open up for those guys, and I was looking forward to it. And then right when they were going to release the album, um, uh, uh, oh my gosh, I can't. Charlie Miner came in and said, they're looking for someone to play Lucy. And I had said something like, to my lawyer and my manager, don't bring me anything where I have to play with rock and rollers who can't act. So they said, well, they threw it up in my face and they said, you told us you didn't want to do it, so we just didn't even discuss it with you. I said, well, let's go, let's do this now. Just check into it. I mean, and I'll tell you, I was really spurred on because there's a costume director here in Los Angeles. I won't say her name, but and I forgive her. But anyway, she was very good friends with Donna Summers, and Donna Summers had tried out for the part, and I think Thelma Hopkins and the singer, You're So Vain. What's her name?
Carly Simon.
Yeah, Carly was who they wanted. So my understanding is that there was this just a onslaught of actresses and singers and who tried out for the part.
Mhm.
And so she said, well, you might try out, but you're not going to get it. And I'm on the phone and I'm going, I won't. What? No. I said, and why not? Well, because Donna Summers is in it, so you won't get it. And I went, in the back, I went, maybe that's probably true. But then I got sufficiently mad enough to just go, I'll call you back later. And then I really pursued it. And Charlie Miner sent me over there when he saw the inside album cover for Universal Child. Did you see that album?
I saw the front and back. I haven't seen the gatefold inside.
Oh, you got it. That's the good picture. It should have been on the front.
It's on my wish list. I've been hunting it down, and I'm gonna find it. I wanted to get it for this interview, but just the
Well,
speed
you know
wasn't.
what? I might, if I have an extra one around here, and I think I do, because I have people sending me all kinds of stuff, playing cards and posters. And I mean, it's not in reach right now. So, okay. But
Well, I'll tell you
lots of
what I do
things.
have. I'll tell you what I have in reach, because for this past week on our social media channels with Bee Gees and me, I've
Yeah.
been posting Sergeant Pepper's things. Leading up to Valentine's Day, we tied it in with the Lonely Hearts. You can see I got the red background going on, so everything's love right now. So I opened up and went through and showed a bunch of our viewers the trading cards. So we have a whole stack and whole set of trading cards, and I do
I got
have,
those.
yeah, you're very one of a kind, Lucy of the Sky Diamonds, all by yourself. Not a lot of
Well,
people in the cast got their own card. You were one of the few.
oh, are you kidding?
No, because it was a really weird set. When I was going through them, they're numbered very weirdly. Sandy Farina's number one on the cards with
Peter?
solo shot. So that's card number one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Card number two is Barry Gibb. Not Peter Frampton, but Barry Gibb. Which,
Barry.
yeah, I mean he's Barry.
Yeah.
Card number three is a horse. It's a two-person costumed horse, some guy in back of another person, riding around on skates. It
I
started.
remember that day. Oh boy.
Yeah, so they're not,
That's the scene from the parade when they're coming in town and the band is on that bandwagon, you remember.
oh, of course, yeah. So yeah, not everybody has a wonderful. They have some that are just random clips and far
Clips from that
away
movie.
shots. But you got a real nice posed one, and that was nice. That's what I wanted to say.
And I've had several people send me that card all by itself, and I'm going, how much? I paid $25 for that. Okay,
Yeah.
wow. I also have some of the costumes still.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
so I got a couple of people after me for that, and it's
Well, I should mention that you were one of the standouts in the movie, without a doubt. You're welcome.
thank
You're
you,
welcome.
darling. I'll do my see, I call it the Diana Ross and the Supremes pose. And in fact, the girls in Stargard, for the end, the finale,
Mhm.
we were all there in our outfits and first they had these gowns and we went, we gotta do something. We gotta have a slit up the side. I mean, we're supposed to be scandalous or something. But at the end, we saw, all the stars were there.
Yeah.
And here comes Tina Turner. And she had on one of her short outfits, she was dressing Tina. And we said, that's what we were supposed to look like. We should look like Tina. But God bless Diana Ross and Supremes, because I'm from Detroit. So it's kind of like a little feeling of having gone back to my earlier years when they were so hot in Detroit. And
Yeah.
we all would, do the poses and sing Stop in the Name of Love and all that stuff, So yeah, but that Tina, man, I mean, she walked in there and when she sat down, she was just like, she might as well have been the queen or Lady Di. And she sat there and she waited for her turn. And then she got up there and started singing with everybody. And of course, she's Tina. So that was lovely.
Okay,
That was lovely.
let's talk about that day because the end of the movie, everybody in Heartland, this town that is the centerpiece of this movie, gets zapped by some kind of magic ray from the weather vane, Billy Preston, and everybody from this town gets turned into a celebrity. And it was Robert Stigwood's goal to have a giant party and a giant, who's who of Hollywood and music industry being in this recreation of the Beatles front cover where everybody's on a tier and everybody's on a label. I have this book. It's one of the poster books or inside scoops of the movie. You're there here with your bio. We'll come back to that. But in this, it talks about the end of the movie. And it has everybody's name who's in it. And there you are right behind Barry and
right next to George Burns, right?
The iconic George Burns. All the celebrities came. Robert Stigwood, I'm just going to read a little bit from here because I find this fascinating. Called the ultimate Hollywood party, it was a super bash of such proportions that it may never be equaled, even in the bigger than life town known for always trying to outdo itself. It was producer Robert Stigwood's super party, thrown for hundreds of guests during the filming of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Mm-hmm.
and all it cost was $500,000.
That's it.
So a large chunk of this budget for this movie was spent on this 12-hour party. Engraved invitations were mailed all over the world. A solid gold Sergeant Pepper medallion for each person invited was given out.
I didn't get that.
It says here that it cost $150,000 for all these medallions. So Tina probably has your medallion somewhere, so go get that.
Yeah, I gotta give her a call.
Yeah, and great, like so many people. So after you filmed that scene when everybody was singing and going through the choreographed motions, was there a 12-hour party that lasted that whole time?
See, now I'm there were parties, and I remember the one where oh my God, they introduced John Travolta, and I think it was Lily Tomlin, maybe. Oh, I'm gonna quit with that. Anyway, let me back up a little bit. Carol Channing was at this. These are people. Cheetah Rivera. I'm looking right now. Frankie Valli. Oh my God, Sha-na-na.
Yeah.
Oh, Wolfman Jack.
John Travolta and Lily Tomlin were in a movie called Moment by Moment.
That was it. So we're at this big party. Now, look, there were several parties. I just don't remember the 12-hour party afterwards. I need to talk to some of the cast members. Yeah. But anyway, the party I remember, we were in a big barn. And that was the one where they introduced John Travolta and Lily Tomlin to everybody because their movie was coming out. And Saturday Night Fever was about to come out too. I mean, the music was just breaking. Disco was like right on the edge there, you know? And I was sitting across from Michelle Phillips of Mamas and Papas. And we were all there just trying to learn how to do these twirls and things before everybody danced apart. But when disco came in, everybody started trying to do all this stuff, and I was really giving it my all. And see, you're reminding me of things that I'm forgetting now. But anyway, Monty Rock III was the DJ that night, and one of the dancers, because you know a lot of musicians cannot dance, you know that, don't you?
Yes.
But we started dancing, and he twirled me around and went for a dip, and then this top, you know, the disco outfits, it fell down. So I was a little bit embarrassed, and Monty Rock just cracked up, and I was hoping nobody else saw it. But guess what? If they had, I don't think they would have cared very much because there wasn't much to see. Okay, I'm gonna stop. All right. Okay. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sure, no problem. So let's.
You can cut that. You can cut that out.
We can cut that part out. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So your character, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, like we talked about earlier, was set to lure Peter Frampton away from, you know, Strawberry Fields and things like that. The performance that you guys did on the billboards, there were two billboards. One was you and Stargard with the Lucy behind you, and then across the highway there was the Sgt. Pepper band with Peter and the Bee Gees up there. Tell me about that, because that was like your big number, one of your big numbers. You had one later on as well, but that was the Lucy number. That was the title of, you know, your name of your character and the title of the song. What was that like, singing such an iconic song the Beatles wrote, that you know, what kind of pressure comes with that in that performance?
That I love that song. When we have our band, I will do Lucy in the Sky with the band. And I just love it. I love the arrangement. I like the feel of it, the atmosphere. I mean, the Beatles are geniuses. What can I say? But when I was up there, I was more concerned about because we already had recorded the music.
Okay.
So we were basically lip syncing. And should I tell people that?
No, yeah, that's, I think, movie
Okay.
magic. People know.
To be there with the Bee Gees and Peter and performing on that billboard. Now, the billboard that they used in the movie when she's going down the street and she sees it off the bus, that's the billboard that's across from Tower Records.
Oh, okay.
But on off Sunset, you can see that. They did that as a long shot. I don't know if they did cutouts of us or I don't know what they did to project that us up there. But we did the scene in the lot studio and just recreated it there.
Okay.
And we had a chance to go over some dance parts. I think Peter was late, or he didn't know if he was going to be able to do something. And the choreographer had an idea to try some different things. And Barry was really excited because they wanted to do more than just be Peter's sidekick,
Yeah.
in a way. I mean, they wanted to dance more. And, sometimes I wonder what if Sergeant Pepper had been done Bee Gees style? You know what I mean? It's Earth, Wind, and Fire did Gotta Get You Into My Life in their style. Aerosmith did their song in their
Come together.
style,
Yeah. Come
Come
together.
Together, their style. But we had heard that one of the conditions was that they would not take the music. This was between Epstein and Robert Stigwood, that they would not take the music too far that because now I guess maybe it was a good idea so that because that at that time disco was coming in. And so maybe that's what they were thinking. I don't know. Maybe it would have been better. I don't know. It's all good music.
Yeah.
But right when we were waiting for Peter to go through the routine, Pat Birch decided to take us and do it with the Bee Gees, with me being with oh my God,
Barry, Robin, Morris.
Barry.
Okay.
Barry. And so I got a chance to go through it with Barry, and he was so into it. I went, wow, he had good moves, And of course, we were all going, oh my God, how fine is Barry? Oh my God. Anyway, to be able to sing that song and any of those Beatles songs is dear to my heart because forever and ever, even though that's the only movie I've ever done, my children and grandchildren, which I don't have, and young men growing up and having their own radio show like you, and so many others that I've heard from recently out of nowhere. I mean, there's become this interest and resurgence, and I was a little reticent at first to do this Zoom thing with you because I have to keep that. I don't look like that anymore, but I'm still glorious.
You look amazing. You look great. Don't even worry about any of that.
But
Yeah.
it was a privilege to be able to do that. And my dad was a jazz musician and my mother was, because I lived in Memphis, so Stax Records, Memphis Sound was always in our family because our musicians were involved in Beale Street and all that. And then Motown had taken off in the 60s. So by the time the disco thing came around, everyone was in music conflicted about whether it was good music. You know how they go through this stuff about rap? It's like, come on, it's all great stuff. You use it, you put it in your toolbox and you use it, and it defines whatever you are at that time, that music, where you're just like, this is the best, that you look back at that and you don't trash it. It just becomes part of your cell structure, I guess,
Well, you mentioned something about a recent resurgence of people appreciating it more, and I think that is due to time and people's lax opinions of what was going on, because at the
Yeah.
time there was a lot of racism and homophobia and all that built into that backlash. And the Bee Gees documentary that just came out on HBO delved into that a little bit, where they showed some of the reactions of people coming out. But you're right, it's fun music, it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
And if you let go of the notions of any kind of, I don't want to say seriousness, because obviously you had to take it serious to make it. But there was, I think a lot of people were hung up on it because let's not mess with the Beatles originals and blah blah. It's such a fun movie. If you just let yourself
Yeah.
watch it and have fun, it's fun. And I think a lot of people are seeing that now because they're seeing it without the preconceived notion of all the backlash that was happening after that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing from people that, I mean, I had no idea, I mean, I kind of have an idea about how people felt about Lucy and Strawberry and, but you go through life and time ticks on and then you kind of settle into your raising your kids and everything. And
Yeah.
you did something, but you don't talk about it very much anymore because and then I remember I was working with this one choir director because, my background, excuse me, I had a bachelor's of music, public school music. So I taught choir prior to doing my records. And then once I got a record deal, then I was off and going, pretty much like how Roberta Flack did her. She was a teacher and then she went on. So we were going over a piece. And then this kid walks in, very rock and roll looking, and he sits down and he goes, "You were in that movie, weren't you?" And I went, "Shush," because I just wanted the kids to concentrate on what I was trying to tell them. And then, of course, they all found out. So we were off to the races then. So then I was involved with the choreography of things around the schools. And then when we would have our classes, we would go through all different styles of music because, I got that to offer. So they listened to me even more after they heard I was in a movie. You know how that works. It was more than a privilege, and to hang out with the guys, I mean, they were hilarious,
Yeah, tell me,
especially Morris.
Morris,
Morris,
that movie, if you watch just him during all the scenes, he could have been a silent film actor with all the facial expressions and the mugging and the comedic timing. He is
yeah,
he was so ridiculously funny in the whole thing. The looks to the camera.
and Robin, he was always so sweet, and he's just a nice guy. Did you ever meet any of them?
I have not. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting any of them. I saw Barry perform live in 2014 when he did his solo tour,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I never got to see the three of them together. I didn't think when I discovered them, I was a kid. I was in high school, and then I went away to college, and they stopped touring extensively towards the end at
yeah,
the early 2000s. And then, unfortunately, Morris passed away in 2003,
yeah.
and then it was
I
pretty much
remember
over.
that.
Um,
Yeah, Morris was always so sarcastic and,
he
saying things with a little double entendre on the bottom and, and moving on, and we were all smoking our cigarettes in those days and just, but nobody was coughing yet. So I think it's all over for that. But I'm just thinking about some of the things we did. Everybody had beers every day. I didn't. I could have looked like Puff the Magic Dragon if I or but anyway, so
so
so every day we met and I think the guys came and they didn't come in limousines every day. They just after a while they just came to the lot in cars and was just regular. And then Peter started coming in a car just regular. And then we're all in there getting our makeup and stuff on. And then we hear this loud music. And then we see this gigantic, dark van that was decorated. And we went, who the hell is that? Who do you think it was?
uh,
Think rock and roll.
I was going to say Aerosmith.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And they got out and they stepped out and they were all dressed. I mean, they were just living the rock and roll thing. And here we were just being like regular schmo people
Yeah.
before we put the stuff on, you know. But that was an interesting day too, because uh, uh, the one where they're about to fight, you know,
Yeah.
we had to reshoot that scene because um, they had a really good time and they decided to take their alcohol and stuff behind one of the little sections up there so nobody could see. And so the shooting didn't go that well, so we had to shoot it again.
Oh, wow.
And Michael Schultz went up on a big crane, and he went, "Listen, boys, you have to. I mean, okay, we
Well,
were all little kids at that point. What can I say?
so this was the climax of the movie. Aerosmith was the future villains band. They were the
Oh
main bad
yeah,
guys who were calling all the shots and getting all the things. Uh, Strawberry Fields was chained to one of the big set pieces, and the Bee Gees and Peter Frampton fist fight with Aerosmith. Strawberry Fields shoves Steven Tyler. He goes falling and to his death, and then Strawberry Fields set piece falls down and she falls to her death. And you were tied up. You were bound and gagged and in chains right at the bottom where everybody was falling.
yes.
So were you in danger? Because there were a couple times when I was like, that was really close to them. If it would have bounced towards you instead of
No,
away.
we were not as close as it maybe
Okay.
seemed like we were.
Yeah.
But we saw them up there, and we were wondering about Peter and Steve Tyler up there. I mean, while they were singing, I think they were very, very comfortable.
Mhm.
But you know, that's why you have choreography, so you can make it look a certain way.
Yeah.
And then somebody falls. I don't. And you know what? I can't remember if they show him falling. Did they show him falling off? I should have watched the movie before I talked to you.
I've been listening to the soundtrack and watching the movie for the past week. They might have just tossed him like off screen. I know they definitely show a wide shot of Strawberry falling off and her.
Yeah.
It was like obviously a mannequin or something bouncing on the steps, but it was a decent drop.
Yeah, I think they must have had something
Yeah.
like just below them, and then they cut to the shot and then show them
Yeah.
on the ground
Yeah.
in distorted body positions. Poor Stephen. And then we had to look surprised and hurt. It's when you're there. I'm trying to remember when we were at the premiere and what the reaction was. In fact, the second time I saw it was at Paramount, and they told me I could go over there to the screening, and John Travolta was sitting there with us to watch it, and we're just looking at how all of it is coming together. Without, I mean, you know, after it's done and edited, it's done and edited. You
Right.
know, you just take it and I'm sure there's some that say, well, what could I have done there better? And only thing I can say, as you could probably tell from this interview, is good that I didn't talk.
Well,
No,
I always,
your interview's fine.
yeah.
I mean,
No, I always found it an interesting choice, and I like to think of what it would be different if your guys' dialogue was heard, or if there was more of a script. Because I do have a copy of
the script?
script. So this is
Where
about.
did you get that? Who gave that to you?
Maybe I should hide the name on the bottom.
No, I got one in here somewhere. You
Um,
know, you're giving me my pride back here. I'm gonna start looking for all my stuff. You know.
yeah, that's what I've been doing for the past week, is just gathering out the stuff that I had, and I had way more than I thought I did too. But
Oh, you do? Because maybe you should have given me homework because I forgot.
Well,
Well,
the screenplay was by Henry Edwards as well,
yeah,
who also wrote the
yeah.
novelization. And I was shocked to see that there was that much difference between the two. I wanted, and I should be asking him. I'm not even sure which one he wrote first, or or how this was coming about, because obviously this was published after it was filmed, because there's
It
photos
was,
and things in
oh,
there.
because our pictures are in there.
Yeah.
Um, that would be a good question. Have you been in touch with him?
I'm
I'm
not,
kind of
no.
curious.
You might be my gateway to the rest of the cast and the crew for this.
Well, I know Paul Nicholas is in London.
You're on the back of the book.
Oh, that one. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Can I
Yeah.
read you your introduction?
Yes,
Which I'm sure
please.
you've heard it
I'm
before.
going to be so entertained by this.
But
Yes.
this is when they introduce you in the novel. This is on page 62 of my copy here, and it's BD hearing the music for the first time, and you and the diamonds are there, and it says across the room, also tapping her fingers, is BD's leading recording artist Lucy, who leads an especially trashy girls group called Lucy and the Diamonds. Lucy is so hot that steam pours onto BD's contact lenses whenever he looks at her. With skin like spun silk, lips like melting cherries, and eyes as piercing as those of a leopard in the night, Lucy is more woman than any man can handle.
Now that's true. God.
I thought that was great, a great introduction, and very fitting as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that scene too.
Yeah, because
Um,
you and the girls were fighting over the picture of the four of
yeah,
them, picking out
yeah.
which one you wanted, and you were like, Peter Frampton is mine.
But I gotta tell you this. Michael Schultz said, Diane, pick up the phone and pretend that you're talking to oh my God, it was a Motown friend, the producer. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name. But anyway, so he said, just keep talking. And I guess after I talked and said things, they decided we're going to keep this silent and just movie.
So that was
But
the first thing you filmed?
yeah, I think he was going to try to let me say a few words
Yeah.
in this. And then they all decide, you'd have to ask him. He's still living. He's down there on the beach, that guy. Have you interviewed any of the others?
I have not. I have not. No.
Well, I have to give you some telephone numbers.
That would be amazing. Thank you. Yeah, we could do every Valentine's Day. I could have another person on, and we could talk about the Lonely Hearts Club. So let's talk about something that I've been thinking about for a while. And this is something that I was like, wow, this was kind of a dangerous moment in the filming and the moving. In the movie was the motorcycle scene where and it brings up another question as well. So the Sergeant Pepper's band gets off the plane and comes in a limousine. You are driving the limousine,
Oh,
and
that did almost end up dangerous, because they chopped the back of some what year car? I'm not good with cars, but that was some
yeah,
long car, and then they made a limousine out of this. They just chopped it together and made it work,
yeah,
And so the guys got in and they were standing up, and then I got the cue to drive, and so I kind of hit the gas, and
yeah.
they were almost over the side, and so we had to do it again because it looked too. I don't know the look that was on their
There's
face.
a couple times when you were driving, and like right there at the airport, you drove away, and then
Yeah.
later when you picked them up from a hotel in the morning during the good morning, good morning, good morning,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you drive from the hotel as they're hopping in and down the road into traffic. And I remember seeing that and being like, that was Diane driving. That was not a stunt driver. That was in the middle of an open road and things like that. That was
Listen, I'm from the Motor City. You're gonna get that. I'm the hot shot when the wheels. But as I remember, any of those street scenes, they always had a cop and people controlling
okay.
whatever you saw. There were controls there, and maybe I just kind of got feisty there in a minute and took things into my own abilities. But
You were driving the limo, and then your character also appears alongside of them on a motorcycle. So is
yeah,
your character magical?
oh yeah, she's all over the place.
Nice.
She's Cleopatra. I mean,
Cleopatra,
it gets
you're
to the point that everywhere they look, there she
mhm,
is.
yeah.
She's uh, they're looking and they see me as you saw the hooker with the blonde wig, didn't you? I got the picture here, but and we're all doing there trying to, because they're in Hollywood now. They've
Yeah.
come from small town,
Yeah.
and
So
so we're there. They go to Rodeo Drive. They see us as Cleopatra and the Nubian princesses and
the
queens, I should
poolside,
say.
you were in the
Yeah,
poolside, you were the
poolside. Then
photographer.
I'm the photographer, and boy, we should probably be running the film, and then I can just like tell you. Yeah, I remember that.
So
Okay.
so so
Oh,
so
yeah.
so back to the limo and the motorcycles then.
Yes.
Your motorcycle drives up alongside. Robin is like pawing at the women as they're driving by. And since you stop, you grab his hand and suck on his finger.
I don't know why I did that, but they
He
kept it.
he that was an improv?
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of this was improv.
So he melts into the limo, you laugh, slap the guy on the back, and then you drive away. That to me was ridiculously dangerous because not only are you moving at a high speed, the limo's moving at high speed, whatever's filming it is alongside too.
Listen, when they brought those motorcycles, and I have a picture here somewhere where we're waiting to do the scene. We met on the lot, and the guy that was on his motorcycle, I should say, um, he just told me to sit on the motorcycle on the lot and he'd be right back. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, the whole thing starts tumbling this way. And that wasn't fun, but I didn't get hurt. But these motorcycles are heavy, man. And
Yeah.
so they kind of pulled me up out of that. And then we just brushed ourselves off and got ready for the scene.
So for that scene to work and with all the moving pieces and how awesome that scene was and how good you looked doing it, by the way, it was I need to give you as much credit as I can for that moment. It was amazing.
Um, Also, when I was driving, it was easy to act without having to, and we were on an open road. So, but when you got the cameras in front of you, they're not on the car. They have a truck pulling you with all the cameras on it, and
Mhm.
they're pulling the car, like hauling the car, and you're pretending you're driving. So I could look in the back and look in the camera and not have to worry about whether I was gonna like crash into the ditch
Right.
or something. And so I could play you might Izies with Peter Frampton, and then there's Dougie messing with
That
me.
is I laughed out loud so hard at him bursting in and like, I want you, and you give him the side eye.
It was like,
You're
leave me
oh
alone.
my goodness. Your side eye was so perfect and
Hey, wait a
such a great
minute.
moment.
He was like that throughout. I don't know, maybe I'll tell you some things not for the general public, but he was such an imp on everything,
Yeah.
pretty much like his character when he was in what is the one? Oh my gosh. Where he played the bully cousin.
I'm not sure. I can look it up though. Um,
Wait a minute. There was Jesus Christ Superstar. These are RSO things. Jesus Christ Superstar. Tommy.
Oh, okay.
He played the bully
Oh,
to
no
Tommy
kidding.
and
Okay.
drug him all around the house and everything. So, but that guy, Paul Nicholas, is so talented. He could dance, he could sing, he had a hit, he had great personality, he had humor. I mean, we just had great chemistry.
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, let's try this," and it was easy. It was easy. I mean, a lot of things like in the money scene,
Yes.
we
Um,
we improved most of that.
so that was a very fun scene towards the end. You guys are breaking in and stealing money from the fundraiser that they had,
Yeah.
and you and Dougie are grabbing giant stacks of cash, throwing them in wheelbarrows, and basically you're tossing in the air and rolling around in it and things like that. A very fun, high energy scene. One of the most high energy scenes in the whole movie.
Yeah.
That had to be so much fun to make.
Well, it was hard not to have high energy with him. He was just and he was like my buddy, and we said, let's do this, let's do that. And we were just trying things. I think Pat Birch came in, and the first time, and this is a good story. I expected, like most stage trained people, expect that your choreographer comes in and they give you basically every step, every loop, every whatever. And so when I went into choreography, she said, "There's going to be a table here. There's going to be this there. You're going to go over to that part." And I was basically waiting for her to show us steps, you know, and not because I've choreographed too. So being a teacher, in fact, in my audition, the guy wasn't playing the right piano chords, and I basically started saying, "Come on now, let's." And so they told me that after Stigwood had seen several of the other auditions, he said, "Go back to the girl that's yelling at the keyboard player," and that was me. And so when I get in certain situations where I think, well, how can I help? And you don't want to step on anybody's toes. You want them to show you what they have to show you. And Pat Birch, she's worked with lots of people. But in Hollywood, sometimes they pick dance groups of people, that they have worked with, and they sit and throw around ideas together, and then they go on the screen. Because she did Grease as well. So here we are, and I'm just kind of waiting for her to show us what to do. And I thought, well, that was nice, and that was the first time I started moving. I say moving because sometimes the dancing and the choreography is different than the way you carry yourself, and with the attitude and everything. And Paul he's so natural with that. So the next day, my manager called and said, "You know what? They called and said that maybe they picked the wrong person." I said, "And why is that?" They said, "Because you didn't come up with any ideas for everything." Well, I thought, your choreographer would just give you everything to do, and then you take it from there and you nuance everything. So I went, oh, again, I'm back to the, oh, really? Okay, I'll see them tomorrow. So I went in and did what I did in my audition. I looked at Paul. I says, "We're going to go over here. We're going to go there. What do you want to do here?" "Oh, okay, let's do this." And we just did things that it was like, you're going to move over here and you're going to move over there. And we didn't even figure anything. It was just natural to kind of
It had a
play
very
on
natural
that,
flow to it.
just playing with the furniture and
Yeah.
and he has an awareness of the camera. And as long as I'm not talking, I have an awareness of the camera. I can sing. Yeah, I gotta give him a call.
So you mentioned before some of the other acts that performed. because I'm gonna say the strength of this is the covers, is the music, because the music
Yeah.
is ridiculously amazing.
Yes.
Billy Preston's Get Back, Barry's version of Day in a Life, and Robin's version of Oh Darling, Earth, Wind and Fire, Got to Get You Into My Life, Aerosmith's Come Together, of course, you and Stargard doing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I would put those up there on par with the originals. That's how good these covers are. And they were all arranged by George Martin and produced by George Martin as well, who
And
did the
that's
original
another
Beatles.
thing, to be able to work with George Martin
Yeah.
and Jeff Emmerich, who worked with him with all the Beatles stuff. And, it's like, sometimes you just don't know how good you're having it when you're there, because everybody was so down home and relaxed. There were no errors. There was no one was snooty. None of that. And we had a good time together. The only one that was kind of snooty was at the premiere, Dame Edna. Well, Dame Edna is supposed to be snooty, isn't she? But I'm just kidding. But everybody
she was in the end too. She sang at the
yes, she was
at the whole.
Did I send you the picture
finale
of her with the boys, with the Bee Gees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because Robin ended up doing her theme song to her show in one of the later seasons in the early 2000s.
He did?
Yeah. He wrote and performed one of the theme songs. So they remain.
You are really studied up, I'm telling you.
So you were billed in Sgt. Pepper as Diane Steinberg, and you are now Diane Steinberg Lewis. Kenny Lewis of the Steve Miller Band, as you're talking about, is your husband. And you guys currently, you work together a lot and you make music together still, right?
Yeah, I met him because I needed a bass player, because my bass player got a gig in France, and so I needed a sub. And so my friend Jeff Lieb, who's now Jeff Paris, another music guy, came to the gig down at the same hotel, the Continental Hyatt House, that we filmed when they were coming out. They were
combing hair and
good morning. So, and it was that hotel that I was subbing for another keyboard player. And oh my God. And so he wanted me to meet Kenny. And so he brought him down, and guitar players get on my nerves sometimes, because you play your chords and there they are playing it, ring, ring, not all of them. I'm just kidding. I love guitar players. I like bass players better. But anyway, so I'm playing, and I had to get a sub, so I hired him. He said he was a bass player, and he came, and one thing led to another. Boom. And where am I going with this?
You really needed a guitar player.
Yeah, I did. No, for that first gig, I needed a bass player. Okay. And he told me he played bass. And he played bass, but he's really a guitar player, because he played guitar in Steve Miller Band after. And then the bass player broke his foot in 5 places. And then Steve said, oh, he plays bass too. Let me just put him in for now. And so he's ended up the bass player in the Steve Miller Band now. But yes, I hired him for my band, because as I told you, I was getting ready to open up for George Benson and Gino Vanelli. And I had Gino Vanelli for, basically, he's the reason why I got the demo to get a record deal with ABC after my first album. I was over at A&M, and a guy over there wanted me to just play some of my songs. And this guy sticks his head in, and then he sticks his head in again, and then he introduces himself. And I didn't know who Gino was then, but then he went right down and he told Herb Alpert, and he was with Karen Carpenter and the Carpenters, and said, you should give her a budget, So that was the beginning of my ABC record. Nice. And what got me Sgt. Pepper.
Very cool.
And actually, it was the picture that got me Sgt. Pepper, I think. because Charlie Minor, and I'm backtracking, but Charlie Minor again had heard that they had not chosen who Lucy was going to be, and Carly Simon, I think she's kind of shy camera wise, and she didn't want to do it, and all the rest, and they still weren't happy. So Charlie Minor got my album and he opened it up, and then he said, as I was standing there, "I'm looking at Lucy right now." And so he sent the album over to Paramount, over to Fern Champion Casting. And it was a good thing that my manager also had gone to school with Fern Champion. That didn't hurt much, did it?
Nice.
But
well, I mean, the stars align the way they needed to.
They always do.
Yeah,
they always do.
And like you said, sometimes you need to take the rein and get yourself there too.
You just got to be willing to follow it. You know,
yeah.
It happens that way.
Yeah, I'd like
to see how we met.
That's right. Well,
and I'm going to introduce you to more people, Doll. You hang out with me.
I love it. I love it. Well, I was talking with a friend. We had a mutual friend named Steve, who I met him through some podcast network things. And he knew I was a huge Bee Gees fan, and he's like, "Oh, I have a friend who was in Sgt. Pepper's," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's great." He's like, "Yeah, you should definitely talk to her." Blah blah blah. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it was probably somebody dancing in the chorus lines, a member of Heartland, and he's like, "Hold on one moment," and then he conference calls you into our phone conversation.
He always does that,
and he's like, "David, I'm on the phone with Diane Steinberg Lewis, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds," and I'm like, "What?" And I was just like, I'm sure you don't remember the phone call, but I was stammering my head off because I had no clue.
Stammering?
I had no clue that he was gonna A, know somebody who was like one of the leads in the movie, and B, I was gonna within 5 minutes start speaking with Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And it's been a roller coaster since. So thank you for being so kind as to.
Well, no, I mean that's the way it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's good. I feel comfortable with you.
Oh, thank
you. And I'm very happy that you invited me to do this.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to wrap up now, but I just got to say it was a pleasure to speak with you, get to know you a little bit, and hopefully maybe we could do this again. And
we will, especially after I tell you some of the other things you might. Well, we'll talk about that later.
We gotta give teasers out for the rest of it.
Yeah.
All right, Diane. Thank you so much.
Goodbye, and love you, David.
Love you. Thank you so much to Miss Diane Steinberg for a wonderful conversation. It was such an honor to talk with you. And thank you for watching the video as well. Give us a thumbs up if you haven't already, and hit subscribe so you're first to know whenever we upload more videos like you saw today. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at BGsandMe, and find us on Facebook. Be part of the conversation. Let us know who you want to hear from, what you want to see, and really appreciate you being along on this journey with me. My name is David Fedor, and this has been Bee Gees and Me. Thank you for watching.